What is happening, everybody? Hello. Welcome. It is No Pants Friday once again, although let's just be real, every day is a no pants day for me. Pretty much at every time it is no pants o'clock, no pants 30. Anyway, welcome guys to the second episode of No Pants Friday. Glad to see you guys here. Thanks for being willing to come and watch it a little later than normal, but I was out today doing some record shopping with my buddies. And so, hey, Deb Smith in the house, Melissa Carver, hello. See you guys over in the chat. Here's the deal, guys. So Victoria, aka Vicky, aka LV Pink Panther, aka my fiance, she is in Washington right now. She left yesterday, so I am all alone. But here's the deal, guys. I'm pretty sure she's watching right now. I don't know if we'll see her in the chat because she's probably watching on her phone. I don't really know how easy it is to like chat along on your phone. I've never done it. I've never like been involved in like a live show while somebody on my phone, so I'm not really sure. But just so you know, she's out there. She's here with us in spirit and virtually, and maybe she'll say hi in the chat. I don't know. Vicky, come home. I'm lonely. There's nobody to make me dinner. I might have to order up some DoorDash because I'm super hungry and I don't want to cook. And I don't want to go anywhere because that would require me to put my pants back on. And I don't want to have to do that. Although I guess I will have to put my pants on when the food gets delivered because even I have some shame. I'm just saying. Anyway, hey, everybody. Ooh, we got 30 people in his house. All right, I see some people have their pajama pants on. I don't think pajama pants, those don't count, okay? Don't worry about it. You don't have to wear, you can wear pajama pants and it still technically is no pants, in my opinion, okay? So, yeah, you can see the chat, but is it super easy to, I don't know. Anyway, Vicky, please tell us you're there. We miss you. I miss you. This show is not as fun without you. I'm boring by myself, okay? And then I would get whiny and anyway, as you can see, I still have the blank wall behind me, which used to be the rock wall. But I'm thinking that I need to get some of those frames that you can get that you put record albums in. And then I can do that so that these records that I got today, guys, I got a whole stack of them. I'll share these with you. I'll make this kind of like a record haul. I can like switch them out so that the wall is always changing with the decorations because I think they'll be kind of cool. So you're not always looking at the same stuff. That's like super boring right now. Everybody's talking about whether or not they have pants. Hey, I love it. I love it. I think it might be something that runs in the family because like my sister has 4 kids and I swear none of them like to wear clothes. It's like they pretty much until they're about 8 or 9, they just run around the house with their underwear all the time. I think they're allergic to clothing, so it could be about that. Haley, hey Donna, Trish, hello everybody. Yeah, Amanda says I'm always in my pajamas if I'm home. Yeah, it's like if you're home, don't you just want to be comfortable? Like, come on, what do you need to have pants on for, right? Come on. Especially here, it's like super hot. And we do this thing where, I don't remember what it's called, but we do this thing where you keep your AC up kind of, I guess, low, well, the temperature high during like peak hours. And it saves you, it's like time of use or something like that. And it saves you like a bunch of money on your bill. So like during the day up until that 7 o'clock, we have our thermostat set at like 82 degrees. So it gets a little toasty here. We don't get to turn it down until like later in the night, although I did turn it down a little bit early because I'm really hot and it's hot up here and I don't want to be sweating while I'm doing the show. So anyway, so yeah, pants just add temperature. So, but anyway, I'm totally going to show you guys what I got today. I found some really cool stuff. I'm kind of like, I've never really collected vinyl before, so it's kind of a new thing, but I'm kind of going after like collecting like soundtracks because I love movies. So that's kind of what my focus has been on. I did used to collect movies. I started with VHS back in the 90s, and then I started doing DVDs, and then I started doing Blu-rays. And at one point I had like over 3,000 titles in my collection, like all kinds of like weird stuff. And so I'm kind of getting started back up with that again now too, although I only have like 10 movies. And so, but just being like super selective. So movies are like a big deal to me, horror movies, but also like classic movies, weird movies, just about everything. Except maybe I guess romantic comedies. I don't know. Anyway, so I think it's going to be super cool to have like my movie soundtracks up on the wall behind me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, LB Pink Panther Vicky checking in. Yay! See, look, you don't even have to be here for me to remember to put my ring on in the morning. Because whenever I take a shower, guys, I take my ring off because I don't like doing lotion and stuff like that afterwards. And I kind of forget to put it back on a lot of times, and she gives me a hard time about it. So I'm just proving that I do remember sometimes. Ooh, Hadley's watching, and Mom and Dad Pratt, and Carrie. Hey, guys. Hello. Hi, Hadley. Do you remember me? Good to have you guys here. Gretchen says to Vicky, watch out for ticks and snakes. Don't tell her those things. I don't know what the temperature is there. Here it's pretty toasty, though. But yeah, she's in Washington for camp. She does. She's a volunteer counselor for a kids camp, kids who are burn survivors. And so she is there. She does that every year. She takes time off from working to go and do that, and it's super awesome. I'll probably be doing it next year, I hope. We couldn't really swing it this year, and so that's why I have to be sad and missing her. And shipping all of her stuff. It's 70-ish degrees, but they have a little more humidity, although it's super crazy humid here because it has been storming a bunch lately. Like it's been raining like every day for the last few days. So I'm telling you guys, by the time you get here for open, it might still be super humid. Last year, open was right after there had been a bunch of like rainstorms, and so it was like crazy humid. I remember it was like 116 degrees, and like you'd go outside and you'd get hit with like this wall of heat. So look forward to that. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to show you guys the cool stuff that I got. Plus, this show is an Ask Me Anything, an AMA Q&A. So if you do have any questions, doesn't matter what they're about, if they're about selling or personal stuff, whatever, ask any questions, I'll answer them. But I'll show you what I got, and I'm going to show you, I think this will be something I'll do on Fridays, show you how my Etsy store is doing, because I just started doing that recently, and I thought some of you might be interested, if you don't sell on Etsy, or even if you do, to see like how it's going for me now that I've kind of like restarted adding stuff to my store. Yeah, and Lauren's up in Washington too, really near, actually pretty close to where Vicky is, 75 there. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to show you, I'll even show you like on the screen, like what's going on in my Etsy store. So you can see how that's going if you're thinking about taking the leap to adding another platform, if you just do eBay or if you do other stuff like Poshmark. Samantha, hey, Katie, did you get your cat shirt? I haven't gone to the mail yet, and thank you for reminding me, because I'm supposed to go get the mail because Vicky has like a couple of returns, so I got to go and do that. Shipping was okay today. I was able to get both of our stuff out. It was hers was super easy because it was just clothes, and I was able to find everything. So, but I will go get the mail after the show. I'll post a picture. Apparently, I'm thinking maybe I got a cat shirt in the mail. I'm just gonna guess that right now. I'm psychic. I think that's what's happened. So I will totally show that. Yeah, Lorna wishes it was closer. It's a few hours away. Yeah, because you're kind of like, you're like up over here, and then you gotta like drive all the way around water to get to where she is. So yeah, it's a few hours away. Bummer. Deb does eBay, Posh, and 3 Etsy stores. What do you sell in your Etsy stores? Do you have 3 different ones? Is it any stuff that you make, or is it? Because I know on Etsy you could do vintage clothing, or vintage stuff. Can you do hard goods, vintage? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so let's look at what I got. Gretchen, since Vicky isn't here, I can go no pants to get it. Anyway, okay, so are you guys ready to see what I got today? I went with the boys, Keith and Scott. They like to go record shopping together, and so I convinced them to let me tag along. We were out for 6 hours. This is the first time I've gone like out shopping for stuff for myself in like a million years. So it's kind of fun to like go out and like, basically it's kind of like you're thrifting, except I'm finding cool stuff for myself and stuff to sell. And so, but it was 6 hours we were going. We went to 5 different stores. And I found some really, really cool stuff. Deb does vintage sewing supplies, handmade, and vintage everything else. Very, very cool. Yeah, Kat says she has Etsy, sells vintage stuff on Etsy and then eBay. And then they have their own website. Very cool. All right, so here's one of the things I got. Do check it out, guys. Check it out. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This is the one with Tina Turner. This is the one with We Don't Need Another Hero. I'll take this off so it's not so blurry. Awesome soundtrack. I'm really, really excited about it. So at some point, that'll be up on the wall behind me. But I think it's super cool. Let's see. Oh, this is one of the first store we went to. I found probably my favorite things I found the entire day. So I got a great start to the day. And these are the two that I got that I'm super, super excited about. Meatballs. Have any of you guys seen Meatballs? Speaking of camp, this is one of the best summer camp movies of all time. And if you haven't seen this, you should. It's awesome. And this one I was super excited about because it's a promo. I mean, whatever. I just like the promos. But great movie. Hilarious movie. If you haven't seen it, you should. If you want to watch about a movie about summer camp, this is the way to go. Now, this is the best thing I found today. This is the Prom Night soundtrack. This is this movie came out in 1980, I think. Or no, maybe it might have been in the 70s, like late 70s. Anyway, this movie I love. And this is a sealed, limited to 500 copies worldwide. This also is a promo. And I am super excited about this. This is a Jamie Lee Curtis movie, campy horror movie. I think it actually is the 70s. And it's a super fun movie to watch. And I love it. So anyway. Yeah, one of the Meatball sequels has Corey Feldman. It does have the Feld dog. You are correct. Yeah. Amanda says, horror is life, horror is love. Do you like foreign horror movies? I do. I love foreign horror movies. I love Dario Argento. I love like Lucio Fulci. Like I love like all of those. A lot of like Italian horror is probably one of my favorites. So yeah, I like all that stuff. Anyway, check it out, guys. Women in Red. Pretty much a terrible movie, but I love it. And it's got Gene Wilder in it. And Gilda Radner. And Kelly LeBrock of Weird Science. So, yay for me. All right. Let's see what's going on over here. More people are talking about their stores. And yes, Cheryl did make it before the show ended. We only just started, so whatever. There's no agenda here other than me like showing you the stuff that I bought today that I'm not going to be reselling. I haven't looked up any of them to see if they're like worth a lot. The prom night one might be worth something, but I'm keeping it because I love it. Check it out, guys. Jazz singer Neil Diamond, Love on the Rocks. See, I sound just like him, don't I? I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but if you like Neil Diamond, you'll probably like it because he's in it, and it's all his music. Oh, apparently I need to say hello to Hadley again. Hello, Hadley. What's going on? What's happening over there? I saw the awesome pictures of you having fun out in the pool today. It looks like you were having a good time and running around, hanging out with the grandparents and hanging out with Auntie Vicky and your mom. So tell me what's going on. What's the best part about today so far? Tell Vicky, she'll type it in the chat, and then I'll know what you said. And then I'll tell you that I saw it, okay? Hadley is 4. She is adorable. And she's hanging out with Vicky right now. So I'm super jealous of Hadley. Uptown Bug wants to know where the camp is, Vicky. All right. I also got Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, the reason I got this one is because my grandparents had this album, and I would listen to it whenever I went to their house. And this is the exact same one. There's a bunch of different versions out there and different recordings and stuff. But so this is like totally nostalgic, and I love Andrew Lloyd Webber. He's probably my favorite as far as musicals go. So I had to pick this up because I think it was only like $2.99, so it was an awesome deal. Ooh, Vicky says that Hadley got to visit baby cows next door. That is awesome. I love all animals, but I especially love the baby ones. And baby cows are adorable. And if we're talking about movies, you got to talk about City Slickers and the baby cow in that movie, whose name is Norman. And he's adorable. And then he comes back in the sequel, and he's a full-grown cow, and it's kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, camp is in North Bend, Washington. So a couple hours away from where she's at right now. Actually, this is also one of my favorite finds today. The movie Mannequin. This is not the full soundtrack. This is the single of Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, still in its original shrink wrap. Starship, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. One of my favorite songs to do in karaoke because I think it's hilarious. But I love this movie, and I actually really love the sequel too. I think Mannequin 2 is a really fun movie. Anyway, yeah, Jesus Christ Superstar is awesome. And I love Rocky Horror. You know what? I almost got a Rocky Horror soundtrack today, but it was priced a little high, so I didn't. Man, your head would have exploded if I would have busted that one out. So, okay, so also one of my favorite movies of all time, guys. This right here, Paper Moon with Ryan O'Neal and his daughter Tatum. At the time, I think her record has been beat, but at the time she was the youngest to ever win an Oscar. I believe she was either 8 or 10 at the time, but she was in this movie. It is so good. If you have not seen Paper Moon, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's Peter Bogdanovich, who's one of my favorite directors as well. It's a really, really good movie. Yeah. And it has Madeline Kahn in it. Madeline Kahn is amazing. So, yeah, for sure. Let's see. Okay. Eating Raoul. I told you guys I like weird movies. This one, man, this place we went to, there were a bunch of really awesome soundtracks, but they all had like damage, like water damage on them. And they were priced like $20. Like there was Escape from New York, which is one of my favorite movies with Kurt Russell. They priced it at like $20, but it was the original version of it was like the original pressing. And so I think it sells for like $150 or something like that if it's in good condition. But this one was just like trashed. And so I didn't get that one. But this one I got for like $3. So I was pretty excited about it. But this movie is ridiculous. So, yeah. Christiane crushed hard on Andrew McCarthy. I don't know. I always thought he had kind of crazy eyes. Like his eyes are always like they're kind of like, they kind of bug out weird. Like it's a little bit crazy. Oh, hey, if I had the Spaceballs album, I would be so excited. I did not see the Spaceballs album. You know, yeah, believe me. Okay, I got a couple more and then I'll quit boring you guys with like all of my record albums I got. Seriously, guys, Bachelor Party. I got Bachelor Party, the album, the soundtrack. This movie is so good. So good. It's everything The Hangover wishes it could be. This is the OG. And it's got like a bunch of Oingo Boingo songs on it and super awesome. If you haven't seen this movie, it's hilarious. So you should totally check it out. And then the last one I got is Blade Runner. I haven't seen the new one. I hear it's pretty terrible. But the original is awesome, based on a short story. I think it's a short story, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, that's everything I got. Oh no, wait, I got one more thing. I don't think I showed you guys this one. I got movie Dressed to Kill, Brian De Palma. He's one of my favorite directors. This is like an awesome thriller. He did Carrie, Scarface, Phantom of the Paradise, which I love. Bunch of other stuff that I think is pretty much the raddest ever. So that's what I got. That's what I got, guys. Ooh, I like Night Shift. Yeah, French horror is really good too. I do like French horror a lot. Amanda is talking about the French horror. I really like I loved High Tension, and there's a movie, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's like ILS. I don't know how you pronounce that in French, but it means they or them. And it's actually a movie that came out before The Strangers. Very, very similar plot line. I think it's way scarier. But, I mean, when I watched it, I was like by myself. It was late at night, and it's all about home invasion, which is kind of like one of my biggest real fears. So, oh yeah, Martyrs is a good one too. Listen, guys, if you're not like super into horror and like gore and stuff like that, don't watch Martyrs because you will not be happy about it. Anyway. All right. Thanks, guys, for being willing to watch me go through my cool finds today. I'm here by myself. It's like I had nobody to come home and be like, look at this, look at this, look at this. So now I just got to get a record player set up in my office because I don't have one. So I got to go steal one out of Vicky's office for now before I buy my own setup. Impromptu Thrift says that they hate horror. That's very, very sad. I just love it so much. Anyway, all right. So what else are you guys up to? What's going on? Does anybody have any questions? Any seller-related questions? Any, let's see. Any other questions? I'm just looking over here at the chat, seeing what's up. It's a little harder to do when you're by yourself. When it's Vicky and me together, it's a little bit easier because one of us can be talking while the other one's looking at what's going on. Anyway, yeah, Lorna doesn't do horror too. You guys are babies, scaredy cats. Tell me about your pool. My pool? What about my pool? We don't have a pool. Anyway, okay. So let's talk about Etsy. You guys want to see what's up with Etsy? So here's the deal. When everything was going down with eBay, and it was making me nervous, and like all the glitches and sales were going down, and it was just like all kind of crazy. It motivated me to get back into Etsy. And so Etsy, I started listing on Etsy, I think it was like at the beginning of 2017. And there was like a good month or so where I listed a whole bunch of stuff. I think I got up to, the most I got to is like 100 listings. But I was selling pretty regularly on there. And then I didn't list at all for like probably the past year. But I would still get sales. And so eventually it trickled down to where, you know, stuff sold on eBay. So I'd have to take it down on Etsy. So it was down to like 20 listings. I only had 20 listings. And so 17 days ago, I went and counted, 17 days ago, I started listing regularly, like listing every single day on Etsy. Basically, any new stuff I'm listing on eBay, if it's vintage, I cross-post it over to Etsy. I'm also doing every day, you know, I'm taking down like 10 to 12 of my oldest listings on eBay, doing sell similar, reworking them, putting them back up. Any of those that are vintage, I'm cross-posting them on Etsy. So I've been doing that for 17 days. Like I said, I started with about 20 listings, and now I am up to 110 listings. So I've done that in the past 17 days. Sharking Mom Deals has a Posh question. Why in Posh parties can't you post plus parties can't you post plus size men's clothes? I don't know anything about Posh, so maybe somebody in the chat can like answer that question. Yeah, we don't have a pool in our yard, but we have a neighborhood pool, and luckily it's really, really close to where we are. It's about a block away, so we could just like walk over there. We go every single morning. It's like a really good way to wake up, and then if we have time, we'll go in the afternoon to cool off. So yeah, a lot of people have added platforms because of glitches. Uptown Bug, it says that. Do I sell on any of the other ones? Posh, McCarthy. I don't, you know, I've talked about this before, but like Poshmark, it's all about, there's a lot of social media stuff that's involved to do all the sharing stuff. And I just know myself and like what my strengths are and also what my weaknesses are. And anything where I have to like be sharing things or posting, you know, doing that kind of stuff, I'm not going to be good at doing it. Like I'm not going to keep up on it. So I haven't bothered venturing into the whole Posh world. I did try Grailed a little bit. I think I still have like one listing on Grailed, and that's like men's clothing. It's really good for streetwear, especially super high-end stuff. It's like the term Grail. It's like a Grail piece, something that's like really hard to find. You like the Holy Grail. So it's called Grailed, and I didn't really commit to it. I talked recently about how that's one of the things you need to do if you're gonna go out to other platforms. You have to be committed to them and actually do them regularly, which is what I was not doing with Etsy. I do have some stuff still, Amazon FBA, but again, it's stuff that I shipped in like back in 2016, and I think I have like 20, 30 things still there. I have some stuff that's fulfilled by merchant on Amazon. And then I'm starting to do the merch by Amazon, the t-shirt designs, but I haven't done any other than the Boss t-shirts so far. What else? I don't think I'm doing anything else. Christiane, 0 eBay sales today. No, I haven't had a ton, but I've had a couple. It's been a so-so day. So anyway, so back to what I'm doing with Etsy. So I'm up to 110 listings. And let me go ahead and show you guys what's going on my screen, and we can talk about it. And I'm thinking I'll just do this every Friday and show you guys how it's going. You can kind of see how it grows over time and if I'm keeping on top of it and whatnot. Yeah, Gretchen says eBay open time is going to cause cleared out thrift stores that week. Oh yeah, everybody's like going out and thrifting like crazy. Luckily, we have 6 different savers, and the savers really do put out thousands of pieces every single day in their stores. Like they are constantly churning out stuff. So even though there's going to be like a lot of people sourcing during that week, there's still going to be stuff that you can find. Like seriously, I found one thing after I dropped off Vicky at the airport. I went to one of the savers and I grabbed something. The very first thing I picked up was on one of their racks that they were just putting stuff out from. So it was like a brand new rack of clothing. I grabbed one piece that I never thought I would find in Vegas. I will show it to you guys on Sunday. I was super excited. I sent it to Vicky. She totally gave me a hard time because she's never found it before in Vegas. It's one of those pieces that she just never found. So yeah, there's always going to be new stuff. Anyway, okay, so here is what my store looks like. This is just like the dashboard. You can see I've got 110 active listings. This number that's sold out, those are just, some of my listings I've deleted, but these are just different ones that I've sold. Maybe actually this might be all I've sold ever. So like I said, I think I only had like 80 to 100 listings before, and I had to end a bunch of them because they sold on eBay over the last year. So anyway, I think this is all, first of all, I love looking at these numbers because I totally have a much better sell-through rate, sales conversion rate on Etsy as compared to eBay. Now, eBay gets way more, like a much higher volume of visitors. So I don't think that, like, let's say I had the same number, like 1,700 listings on Etsy. I don't know that I would make more on Etsy than I do on eBay because there's so many more people just coming to eBay. Like you're just getting way more. But what I've noticed with Etsy is that the visits that you do get are really super high quality. Let's see what's going on. I see people congratulating people. Oh, nice. Kat found a really cool mid-century modern teapot. Bought it for $3, sold it for $2.29. Nice. I love those kind of sales. So anyway, so the visits and the views you get are super high quality. So first of all, if you look at visits, so visits, just imagine that it's somebody like coming to your store. So it's like, it's the number of people who have come and just visited your store. So let's say 70 people visited. And so when I was reading up about this, and with the views, you want to have a higher number of views than visits because it means that they are actually going and looking at different things. Like if you had 70 views and 70 visits, that would mean they come, they look at one thing, and then they leave. So if you imagine like an actual store, a visit would be somebody coming through the door into your store, right? And then for views, that's like every time they go pick up an item and actually look at it. So if you're walking around the store and you pick up 5 things, that's 1 visit, 5 views. And then I've got 4 orders this last week. So I had 4 sales in the last 7 days for $175. I figured out my basically sales conversion rate for Etsy is a 2.8 based on these numbers. You guys, my number on eBay is 0.6. It is way lower, way lower. So seriously, like having an extra 175 in sales for the week is so helpful because my sales are still down on eBay. But I think that's a pretty good start. Like to have, I'm up to 110 listings and already like almost $200 in 1 week. Like I'm super stoked about it. I'll show you some of those sales. Okay, Melissa said, how do you get paid on Etsy? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and quit sharing here because there's not really anything else to show right now. So with Etsy, you link your checking account to their account, to your account on Etsy. And basically what happens is like, you sell something and it's a pretty fast turnaround. You don't get your money right away. It does take a couple of days, but it's a pretty fast turnaround within a couple of days. Like usually if I sell something today, in 2 days, it's going to be getting deposited into my bank account. So it's really not that bad. When I buy my labels on Etsy. Vicky says when she sells on Etsy, she buys her labels through her PayPal. I buy them on Etsy. And so when you buy them, it just kind of gets tacked onto your bill. And the way that they do the billing on Etsy is that you set like, I think you get to set what your level is. So I think mine is like $50. So every time I get to where I owe $50, it automatically takes that $50 out. And then at the end of the month, it takes whatever the balance is. So I kind of like that too. So what's going on over here? Yeah, LD Pink Panther, she's 0.8 on eBay. So she has a better sales conversion rate than I do. What's going on? Yeah, LD Pink Panther, she's feeling a little invisible right now. See, here's what happened when Glitchapalooza was going on. She was having like the best sales week of her life. It was crazy. Like everybody else was like having no sales. And she's like, it hasn't affected my sales. I think she talked about it a little too much because now this is happening and her sales are kind of down. So nobody puts Pink Panther in a corner. That's funny. DJ says, darn it, I'm late again. Didn't hear the notification. No, why? Yeah, so Etsy pays straight to your bank account. How do returns work on Etsy? You know what? I've only ever had one return, and it was like last year. There was a t-shirt I sold to somebody, and I'm trying to think what happened. I think I just, I don't know if it was like they opened an actual return or not, and maybe somebody else here who does Etsy a lot more can explain it better than I can. I just know I shipped it back to the guy and refunded him. I don't know. I don't remember there being like a process for it. I'm sure there is a process for it, and I just don't know. So clearly I don't have the experience to be able to tell you guys. Yeah. I mean, at the time, like I paid for the return shipping because I believe whatever it was, he didn't think that it was because it was like a damaged shirt. Like I had disclosed that he wasn't happy with the condition it was in. And I was just like, whatever. It's like it cost me like $3 to ship it. So it didn't really matter. Yeah, Deb Smith says pretty easy. They ship it back, you refund. Deb, is it like eBay? Do you like in Etsy, let's say if you're the buyer, do you actually click on like request return? Because it seems like what I remember happening in the one time I did, so obviously it's just anecdotal. I think he just emailed me. He just messaged me through Etsy and just said, I want to return this. And so then he did. So I don't really remember. Yeah, so no process, no going through the site. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. So yeah, so just a conversation with the seller. Yeah, so it was super easy. Again, it only happened one time, so I haven't had a huge issue. But again, I've only sold like 50 some items total ever on Etsy. So again, this is just me starting out. So hopefully you guys will find it interesting for me every week to just be like showing you guys what's up. I'll show you my numbers and we'll just see how it grows and what happens because it seems like men's clothing does pretty well. Like vintage stuff does pretty well on the old Etsy. Oh, nice. Kara said that she messaged eBay for Business about Glitchapalooza. It took a few days for them to respond, but they are refunding or crediting a month of the store fee. So good. Awesome. Wow. Deb Smith has like 1,500 sales on one shop. Wow. How many listings do you have in your stores, Deb? I'm really curious because it's like I'm really curious now if I actually stick to it and like keep cross posting and get my store. I mean, I'm not going to have as many listings because not everything in my eBay store is vintage. I mean, a lot of it is, but I'd say probably I don't know, 60% of it's vintage. But I am really curious to see like how my Etsy store will perform like once I actually have like a solid inventory, like at least 500 items, and I'm still listing every day. I'm super curious about that because. Yeah, Deb says 500, 100, and 15 on the newest. Very, very cool. Very cool. All right. Amanda wants to know if I promote, well, I'm assuming she's asking me, if I promote my stores on social media. See, that's the thing, and that's why I don't do Posh, because I know I'm really, really terrible. I have, if you follow me on Instagram, I have an account for my store, a boutique for him, and I have another account that's just me, like their personal and their business together. I feel like for vintage streetwear type stuff that I focus on, those people that follow those kinds of accounts don't really care what you're doing in your personal life. They just want to see the cool stuff that you are selling. But if you go look at that, if you look at that account, I am so terrible at keeping things posted. I think I posted one thing like a month ago. So I'm really, really bad about it. Even my thrifter one, it's like sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 posts in a day, and then other times I go for like a week without posting anything. I'm really, really terrible when it comes to social media stuff, because I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So, I mean, the fact that I actually do regular videos with YouTube, that's a big deal. And the fact that like in the Facebook group, that I'm every day I'm putting up posts in there, like I have to make myself do it. I have to it's kind of almost like for a lot of people, a lot of sellers hate listing and they have to like really get themselves into the habit of doing it. For me, making sure I'm regularly posting things in Facebook, and doing the YouTube stuff is like, I had to like teach myself to get into the habit of it and like have a schedule for it, and that helps a lot too. Like having the schedule, like doing a show every Sunday and then a show every Wednesday and now on Fridays, because I have like kind of committed to like doing them on a specific day, it makes it a lot easier. And now that I've been doing them for several months or a few months or however long it's been, it's super easy. And it doesn't seem like, it's not, I don't have to worry about it. So anyway, yeah. So again, it's like, when I talked about in a different show about like, you kind of need to basically take a reality check and understand, okay, here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm not good at. And so for Posh, that particular platform, I am not good at social media stuff. And if I put myself in a position where it's like, I'm forced to do all of that stuff, I'm going to hate it. And it's kind of like the whole thing of like the whole no pants thing. Like I don't sell pants because I hate photographing pants. I hate listing pants because I hate it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I want to enjoy my job. So yeah. Amanda says, I've heard on Posh, you have to click share on your items like a million billion times. I mean, you can hire like a virtual assistant. Like some people like, that's like a really good way, a really good use of like a virtual assistant. I mean, if it's something that you want to do, you could hire somebody to like do all the shares. So, yeah, Lorna says, if I did use social media, she thinks my sales would be amazing. Just saying, hey, I totally agree with you. I know, I am fully aware that like I am only hurting myself by not being more active with the social media stuff. And I really need to force myself to do it more. So yeah, Melissa's got a ton of stuff to list. Yeah, me too. All right, Ria's got to drive home. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Oh, somebody asked a question. Oh yeah, Melissa was asking Deb about the sewing and craft supplies with their vintage as well. Some are, yeah, and that's the thing with Etsy. That stuff doesn't have to be vintage. The craft items don't have to be. Any of the crafting stuff I don't think has to be vintage, or obviously the homemade or handmade stuff doesn't have to be vintage. It's just clothing that has to be vintage. So, but men's stuff does really well. I don't know if there's anybody Deb, do you sell a lot of do you sell clothes at all in any of your stores? And do you sell women's? Like, does anybody have any feedback about how women's clothing does on Etsy? Because I have no idea. But I feel like men's stuff seems to sell really well. So yeah, Lorna says that her second Etsy store was all supplies. Lorna, are you listing more stuff on Etsy now? She says it does well on Etsy. Clothing. Are you getting your Etsy store back on track? Yeah, Cecilia. Hey, I will be in Vegas for 4 days from Thursday until Monday of next week. What would be a good place for me to source? And I think I may have a few shirts that you will love. I am hoping you have a few shirts that I will love. That sounds pretty cool to me. But yeah, Vicky's answering it. We have 6 savers in the Vegas area. So those are like probably my favorite place to source, just because, like I've said before, they put out so much stuff all the time, every day. They're like constantly putting stuff out. So you could go there every day and find different things. So you got to hit all the savers. Salvation Army is kind of hit or miss, and I hate the way they're organized or not organized. But we have a few of those. Then the Goodwill, I'm not a big fan of the Goodwill, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that I only thrift men's clothing. And so I just think the Goodwills here don't really have a great men's department. It's pretty small, although I will say there is a Goodwill. Vicki, where the Boulder City, was that one actually in Boulder City? It was just outside of Boulder City. It had like way more men's stuff. In fact, I need to make sure that like I'm going back there maybe like once a month or something like that, because they had, compared to the other Goodwills in Vegas, they had like a lot of men's stuff and a lot of men's jackets, which is the thing I really love to thrift. Impromptu Thrift says, I hate Goodwill now, overpriced and no jewelry now here. Yeah, I don't do the jewelry. Now, the overpricing, I do think they're overpriced. They can be overpriced. I will say, and I've said this before, that one of the things that really helps with the overpriced stuff is being super knowledgeable of the value of the things that you thrift. When you get to that point where you know your brands really well and you know how much stuff will sell for, you're going to find that you can afford to buy some of that stuff that a lot of people would think is overpriced, because you can flip it for 4 times what you pay for it. And the kind of nice thing about that is that sometimes the really good stuff doesn't get bought by other thrifters or other people because they think it's too high of a price. And then you get to swoop in and get the good stuff. So yeah, Lauren says Etsy is good to price higher than eBay, especially vintage collectibles. I'm assuming somebody asked. Oh yeah, Amanda said, do you keep the price for 9 the same on eBay and Etsy? You know what? I charge shipping on Etsy. I don't charge shipping on eBay, and it seems to not be a problem on Etsy. Clearly, people are finding my stuff. And to be honest, I don't do a big price difference. I actually, a lot of the stuff, I basically adjust the price so it comes out about the same as on eBay. But that's just me, because whatever, it's like I don't really feel the need to, like, I already price my stuff pretty high, so I don't really feel like I need to price higher on Etsy. But again, that's just like a personal preference type of thing. So but yeah. What else? I'm sure you guys have already been talking about other places to go. Yes, we do. Drummer wants to know if we ever venture into California for thrifting. Yeah, we've gone a couple of times to go like visit friends and do stuff. And when we do that, we stop along the way. I actually, our absolute favorite place to thrift. So anybody who does any traveling between Vegas and California, go to these at Victorville. Is that what the town's called, Vicki? I think it's Victorville, and their Salvation Army, again, horribly disorganized, like it's not very well organized. But their particular Salvation Army, for some reason, we've gone there twice now, we always find super cool stuff. And I don't know if Saturdays are like their day for, or Fridays are like their day for 50% off. But every time we've gone, I think it's been a Friday and it's been 50% off. So I'm not really sure if we're just lucky. But we find the coolest stuff there. The first time I found a tour t-shirt for the Cult, and it was a vintage one from the 90s, and it wasn't in great condition. And I sold it for, I think I shared it in one of our haul videos. I think I sold it for like $125 or something like that. It was like, I sold it for like a crazy high amount, or maybe 150. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, Vicki adds $10 to every item on Etsy. When we were actually in when we were in San Diego, there were a couple of places that were kind of cool. Overall, I prefer our thrift stores here, but I love that Victorville Salvation Army. It's kind of awesome. Yeah, and then we went to Boulder City, which is just, I mean, that's still here in Nevada. But we've talked about we need to go to Phoenix, or, you know, kind of go over to the Arizona side and do some thrifting over there. We haven't done that yet, at least since I've been here. I know Vicki's done it before. So Deb Smith, apparently I have a new subscriber, didn't know how to channel. Yeah, people can subscribe to you even if you don't have any content. So that's funny. Well, I guess now maybe it's like a sign that like you need to start your own channel, Deb. I mean, clearly you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of information. Why don't you start a channel and like do Etsy stuff? I actually don't follow like a lot of resellers, but I'm assuming that there's probably people who are specifically Etsy sellers who do YouTube, but you should totally do one. I bet people would watch. They'd love to learn from you. They got a lot of questions for you. Oh, G Jasso is in Phoenix. A lot of nice thrifts there. Very, very cool. Yeah, I've never been, I mean, I've been to Phoenix before, but when I was in Phoenix, it was back in like 2003, and I was not, 2002 or 2003, and at the time, I was not selling on eBay. I was collecting movies at the time, so I did go to like a lot of stores there to do like used movie shopping. That was back when, do you guys remember Warehouse Music? They had at least one here in Vegas too that I went to back in 2003. Warehouse Music, we had them all over in Oregon. They're FYE stores now, the ones that are still around. So yeah. Oh, Melissa she just got a subscriber too. See, Melissa, now you can do a channel too. I bet people would love to watch your videos. You could do like a whole show that's like all about being a single mom, making it work. You got kids at home, you just had a baby, and you're still like, and you like basically started eBay, what, like a few months before you gave birth, and you're like doing awesome. I think there would be, a lot of people would be super interested in your story, and to see how you're doing. But yeah, Vicky says she loves picking and thrifting in Arizona, so we need to go. Yeah, a lot of the FYEs are like closing and stuff like that. But it used to be, before FYE bought them, it was Warehouse Music. And I worked for Warehouse Music for a long time before I went back to school, and while I was back in school. And I used to buy all my movies there. Faded or faded. Did Vicky take Bret Michaels with her to camp? Yeah, she took everything off the rock wall and she packed it up in her suitcase, her carry-on, so that she didn't take any pictures of me though, guys. She just took Bret Michaels. No, she took everything down from the rock wall because we're gonna redecorate one of the spare bedrooms, and it's gonna be the rock room. I think she ordered them, I'm not sure, but she ordered like these really, really cool comforter set, like a bed set that's got like skulls on it. It's like black and gray, I think it's gonna kind of the colors. I can't wait to see that room done. It's gonna be super cool. When she gets back, we'll put everything up in there on the walls. But I got to turn mine into my movie soundtrack wall and posters and stuff. But I need to get the frames, the record frames, and I also need to get some poster frames. So, yeah. What's going on? Yeah, Gigi. So I bought a lot of movies when Blockbuster was going out of business, and now they're just, yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was in Phoenix, I bought, it was the first time I bought the movie, but because I bought it again because I had to get the special collector set, the movie Showgirls, which, here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you've seen the movie Showgirls. You got to be okay with some nudity and a lot of language. There's a lot. But in my opinion, Showgirls is the greatest comedy ever filmed as a drama of all time. I love Showgirls. It's one of my favorite movies. It is absolutely awful. It is one of those movies that is so terrible. It's amazing. It is crazy that they ever got anybody, that they were able to fund a movie to that level that is so absolutely terrible. And it's funny because it's one of my favorite movies, and it's all set here in Vegas. But yeah, I specifically remember picking up the movie Showgirls at a Warehouse Music it might have been in Scottsdale. Oh, Lorna loves that movie too. Seriously, it is terrible. It is so terrible. In fact, you know what? Of my old collection, I still have like a few things. I'm going to show you real quick. I got it right over here, I think. Where is it? Yep. All right, here it is, guys. I'm not lying. I love this movie. I have the special edition box set that has the movie. It comes with shot glasses, playing cards. It also has a pin the tassels on the Showgirl. Or it's yeah, so it's like this whole game and stuff. Seriously, it is the most deliciously god-awful movie ever. Wait, what about Saved by the Bell? Yes, it is the girl from, it's Jessie Spano from Saved by the Bell. It is, it totally is. I think that she hated that, because do you remember in Saved by the Bell, like her character Jessie was like so, like she was like women's lib and like a super feminist, and like she was all like super just all about that. And I feel like she wanted to do something like so completely different from that role. And I think she went a little far because then she did Showgirls. And it's like, yeah, Trish Glenn, best worst movie. Seriously, guys, if you haven't seen it and you're not somebody who's going to be clutching their pearls, you definitely should check it out because it's real bad. It's real bad. And it's a great Vegas movie because it's all set in Vegas. So anyway, Red Letter Media on YouTube. Their channel is great for people who love amazing, terrible movies. Best of the worst. Nice. See, I love terrible movies, but I also love good movies. So it's like I love classics and horror, and my tastes run across the board. So it's a little bit of everything. Wait, what's going on over here? Oh, DJ says that last night they saw my video where I said Joey McIntyre was my favorite new kid. Mine was Donnie Wahlberg. You know, my favorite I think Donnie was my favorite too, like for a little while. I kind of went in between whatever. You know, all the girls were crazy about New Kids on the Block, and of course they were in love with them and stuff. Clearly I didn't realize it at the time, but there was a reason why I wanted to be one of them and not necessarily was not in love with them. I just didn't realize it yet. So it was more about me wanting to be cool like them. Because I didn't want to marry one of them. It was my first concert I ever went to. It was New Kids on the Block. So yeah. Actually, technically, I mean, it wasn't really a concert. I did go to the Billy Graham Crusade when I was a kid with my parents. I grew up in a super Baptist family, and we went to the Billy Graham Crusade. And so my first like real live music performance was Johnny Cash, because Johnny Cash was there with June Carter in Portland for the Billy Graham Crusade. And so I got to see them perform. So I could technically say that they're my first like live music performance that I ever experienced. And I think that sounds probably way cooler than New Kids on the Block. And then Christiane says my first concert was Barry Manilow. That is awesome. My third concert I went to when I was 14, and it was probably my favorite concert I went to, of my younger years, was Herman's Hermits. And that was an amazing show because I was like super into oldies when I was a kid. Like that's what I listened to a lot more than like current at the time music. I love the oldie station 97.1 Kissin' FM. That was the station I listened to. I would call in my requests and then sit by the radio with my little tape recorder, and I'd have the pause, how you do pause, play, record, so that like I'd call in and request a song, and then I'd hit the little pause button so I could record it, and I'd make tapes of like my favorite songs. But anyway, so I saw Herman's Hermits, and the Safaris opened for them, and it was awesome. It was like one of the best shows I've ever been to. So Impromptu Thrift. Me too. Billy Graham. Loved it. First concert was Little Feat. Ooh, Dev Smith. First was Bruce Springsteen before he was really famous. I'm assuming is what that's supposed to say. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Oh yeah. Remember making mixtapes? Remember how fun that was? And it was like a process, like, because you had like I said, like even when you had CDs, it's like you couldn't, CDs came out, but you couldn't like burn your own CDs for a long time. So, you take your CD and then you record your songs. And I love to do that. Like I love the whole process of making a mixtape. And then once you could like burn your own CDs, even that was like super fun. And I'd have like my iTunes and I'd like load up all my songs and figure them out. And then like I figured out how to make like sound clips from movies. And so then I would like put in like movie clips in between songs and stuff like that. Like I love to do that. And now it's like I have Spotify now. I don't know if anyone else has Spotify. I love Spotify. It's one of the things that I pay for because it's like $10 a month or $11 a month because I listen to it all the time, like every single day. And I love making playlists, and it's super cool. So I love it. Remember Casey Kasem, Top 100? Yeah, I do remember listening to Casey Kasem. Casey Kasem, let's bring this back around. He was on Saved by the Bell once, and that was pretty cool. Cat's first concert was Elton John. 1440 Hustle was Monkeys reunion tour. Oh, that would have been like a really fun show. I totally would have gone to see the Monkeys. Hey, hey, we're the Monkeys. We're just monkeying around. Yeah. Oh, LV Pink Panther, your phone is dying. No. Well, you pretty much watched most of the show. So I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions? Ooh, Cindy, my first concert was Paul Revere and the Raiders, 1964, McMinnville, Oregon. Yeah, Paul Revere and the Raiders, they're from Oregon. And so they play, I think they're from Oregon because they're always playing there. Amanda's first concert was the Rolling Stones. I was 16, didn't know who they were. I have to say, I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan. This maybe, Amanda, this might change how you view me, but I think they're okay. Like, obviously, they have some amazing hits and stuff like that. They just have never really been like a favorite of mine, and I've always thought that like there are other bands that don't get as much. Like, personally, I think Queen is probably like the greatest band of all time. I think that they don't get. Yes, people love Queen, obviously, but I feel like to me, Queen, even as much as they are loved, I still think that they are underrated. And so, whereas Rolling Stones, I think that to a certain degree, they're a little bit overrated sometimes because people are like really crazy about them. They're just not my thing. I'm not as into them. I like some of their songs, of course, but I'm just not as into them. So, Sherilyn, apparently I'm old. Mine was young Elvis. Ooh, wow. Yeah, Queen. Like, when I discovered Queen, my sister had this boyfriend when she was in high school. I was still in middle school, and I wasn't a fan of him, but he passed on some great music to me. And Queen is one of the things that he helped me to discover. Like, I'd heard like a couple of the hits, like, because I listened to the oldies station, but he's the one that like kind of opened my eyes to like their whole discography and like everything that they do and like all their music. And it's like, and I totally fell in love with them. Yeah, he introduced me to Queen and Ministry. So, yeah, Freddie was absolutely a rock god. He was amazing. The whole band's amazing. I just wonder what would have happened if he was still alive and they continued to make albums, because I think the last album that they did before he died was super, super good. Like, their albums went from the 70s into the 90s, and I think they were all fantastic. It's so good. And then he did some solo stuff, like with that one opera singer. And if you guys have ever, like, check out the video on YouTube for the song Barcelona. It is amazing. It is so good. I love it. I love his voice. Really, really good. Oh, I wish I could have seen Queen live. Vicky saw them this last year, but it was whatever that guy's name was singing, because obviously Freddie Mercury wasn't there. That would have been really cool. So anyway, LV Pink Panther. Pretty sure Elvis died before Katie and I were born. That was just mean. That was mean. Why would you say such horrible things? Oh, Vicky was alive. Vicky was alive. Yep. See, I was the youngin'. I was not alive when he died, because I was born in 79, so he died in 77. So Journey is playing with Def Leppard in Detroit tonight. I think that'd be a fun show to go to. Oh yeah, Adam Lambert. He was the one that was the lead singer. Impromptu thrift. Yeah, because they're saying I knew he was gay, but I would still want to be with him. He just touches my heart. Here's the thing. I think if we're talking about who you're going to fantasize about being with, I don't think their sexual orientation should be a part of the equation. Okay. I think it should get to be anyone that you want, and it doesn't matter. All right. So let her have her Freddie Mercury. Come on. Wow. Uptown Bug in the late 60s. My husband saw Janice, The Doors, and tons of others. Oh, can you believe it? Yeah. Come on. Nobody's old. We're all young. I'm 39 and I still feel like I'm like 20. So, and Vicky says I'm basically like a 12-year-old boy. So whatever. Cheryl says she's going to kick both of our young butts. That's awesome. DJ's first concert was Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. They actually have a house in Oregon. They have a house in the town that I lived in before I moved here, Silverton, Oregon. So, anyway, all right. Any other questions? It's been super fun chatting with you guys. The new kids have cruises? That's crazy. Yeah, Melissa says she's 41. Everyone says she looks like she's in her early 30s. I don't know what I look like. I just know that like I always feel younger than I actually am. Of course, when I see somebody who is in their 20s, I think they look like little babies. Ooh, Vicky, come at me, Cheryl. Okay, you guys need to settle down. You guys are going to need to hug it out. You might need to have some Krispy Kremes together when we're in Vegas. and everything's going to be okay. All right. So Amanda says, I'll be 38 this month and I'm struggling with it. What are you struggling with? Like turning 40? I don't know. I was super excited when I turned 30, and I think I'm going to be excited when I turn 40. My 20s were rough. I think most people, it's like your 20s are kind of like, it's a rough decade. You're still like figuring everything out. You're doing everything wrong. You make lots of mistakes, and then hopefully you can struggle to get over those mistakes. So for me, my 20s were a little bit rough. I made a goal to, when I finally got myself back into school, because I did drop out the first time around, I made it a goal that I wanted to be done with. I wanted to graduate from grad school by the time I was 30. And I actually was 30 when I graduated. So when I turned 30, I was super stoked. I felt like, yay, I'm finally a grown up. Anyway, yeah, your 20s. So any of you guys who have kids that are in their 20s and maybe they're messing up and stuff, just cut them some slack. 20s are rough. They're trying to figure their shit out. So, just they're going to be okay, but it's going to take a while. But I'm going to be excited when I hit 40. I'm totally down with it. I have no problem. I'm going to be like when I hit 60, I'm going to be super cool. It's whatever. It's like I got my shirt on right now. I do what I want, and it's true. I do what I want. Who cares? You can do whatever you want. And who cares how old you are? Anyway, listen, guys, I wasn't even paying attention to how many people were watching, so I have no idea how many of you guys were here. Right now, we've got like 70 people, but I appreciate it. It is Friday night. You guys are like hanging out with me when I don't know what else you would be doing. But speaking of being old, like a lot of times Friday nights, this is all I'm doing is hang out at home. So anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to come and hang out with me. I had a fun time showing you all the stuff that I got. Like I always say, Boss Facebook group. If you're not in the Boss Facebook group, please, please, please join it. The link is down below in the description of this video. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. Make sure that you do hit a little bell icon next to it so that you are getting notifications whenever I put new stuff up or when my live shows start. And hey, I always forget to say this, but why don't you go ahead and hit the thumbs up button there? Why don't you go ahead and hit that? Give me a little thumbs up if you like the video, or you can give it a thumbs down if you didn't, but whatever. There's a lot of you here, and I'm not seeing the same number of likes or dislikes. So again, thank you guys. Love you. I'm going to do a little listing because I've been out all day shopping and I haven't done any listings, so I need to do a few things. I am going to do the hashtag 2 or 2 post here in a little bit in the Boss Facebook group, so everybody can like chime in there and say what they accomplished today and get on it. But thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Listen, the Sunday live haul show. Vicky's not here, so I'm going to have a very special guest is going to be here in the house with me, doing the show with me. I think you guys are going to have a really good time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's top secret. I'm not going to tell you who it is because you got to tune in on Sunday so you can see who is going to be my guest co-host on Sunday. So that's 11 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. We'll be doing our live haul show. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Thanks again. You're all super awesome. Please have some fun this weekend and boss up.